Well, hey everyone, time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe. Listen on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, or wherever you listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts usually the Apple one. I don't know. Do you use Apple, Jesse?
I
Or
do. That's the one I use all the time, unless I put it on the Alexa, and then
there
I
you
don't know how
go.
that works. It just works. So, like Alexa, play Geocache Talk, and it'll start. Oh, I better be careful.
Oh, be quiet. It's
Uh,
gonna start playing.
it's in the other room though. So, oh
Yeah,
crap,
that's
there's one
true.
in here too. But,
Yep.
um, but
I,
yeah, iTunes, the one on iTunes, the Apple iTunes,
yeah. I
whatever the
use
one that comes on the phone.
I use Spotify quite a bit, but that's just me. But you
Yeah,
can, and the Geocache Talk is on Spotify. So if you're a big Spotify user, um, you don't have to go to a separate spot to listen to us. But anyway, however you get us on our weekly Geotalk goodness that we provide, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and all of our featured patrons. And we're going to get to a little note about that here in a moment. But this week's featured patrons is Burns Fire, Hockey Zombie. God, I love some of these GC names.
I know.
Ship to Shore, A. Holly S., Geodandrew, Direwolf 821, Deuteronomy 31:8, Sasquatch Lover. Tell you, they got some crazy ones. Anjay Damon, one of our French patrons, Emily Renee, and our new patrons, Chihuahua Jill. I'm going to say that every week. I think just because I like the name. No, we'll rotate through. Sorry. Cam Majestic 2011. Cam Majestic 2011. Prayers for you. I know you had a loss in your family, and so definitely thinking about you. R&M Cashers, Cal Running, DE Crypto Man, Julie D, Lost Boy Rambler, Houston, Texas Dave, Houston TX Dave, Hula Yossi. I think I got it right, Jesse. He's our patron in Finland. Hula Yossi.
I'm impressed.
I asked him how to pronounce it, and he's like, no, you're not going to get it. I thought I'm going to give it my best shot. So I did some. I studied
He's probably
Finnish.
laughing at you. He or she is probably laughing at you.
Laughing at me like there's no tomorrow. And you'll get to meet him. He's going to a Geo Woodstock. Adair, MD, and Semmels 123.
Hey, I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, old Ryan. He's not that old. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com. What's that? He is old. He's an old ancient. No, he isn't. He's not that old. Head on over to Oh, you broke up there. Sorry, buddy. What was that?
Go ahead. It's
okay.
Slow connection.
Head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coins, and I actually got I got a couple here.
Oh, look at those.
Because they're ready to go, because I gotta pack them away and off they go, because I gotta send some more. But I got a whole pile of them here. So we got plenty now, which is great.
Must mean we need more patrons.
We need more patrons. Yeah, there you go. It's got like checks. I still have money in the bank. Still got checks. Nobody writes checks anymore.
Well, people are still they're cashing with them on. I'm mainly on Instagram now, but
yep. Mm-hmm.
But there's tons of pictures, and I love seeing those when we're going through the Instagram feed. And I try to hit them all up on our story all the time. Look at me with the internet lingo. I got it. My story and.
Yeah, look at you.
So it's great to see those the pictures of caches or wherever they are, and you got the little coin there. It's always I like it every single time I see it.
Yeah, me too. This is some great stuff. So you get a blackout coin. We've got some other stuff, other swag that's going to be going out soon. That we're going to talk about soon. I keep saying that, but we will talk about that here shortly. Bonus content, invites to special events. We have a patron dinner coming up. So if you'd like to become a patron, I'll let you know all the details about that one.
That's going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. The cool thing about that too, and I think I'm kind of spoiling but I've already got confirmation. If you're a patron also of Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, we are going to be combining
We had joint event.
a joint event. Patrons, and if you're a patron of both, you'll get to go. Sorry, there'll be only one dinner you get to go to, but we're going to do the events together during Geo Woodstock. It's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to meeting some folks that are not our patrons, but they're patrons of Joshua, and it's kind of fun. We'll have a great time together.
We're getting bullied in the chat room again. I don't know why I even let my wife know when the show is on. I need to stop letting her know when I'm going to record a show.
Sweet. What's the CFO wanting to? What's she?
Oh yeah, you think it's sweet, huh? She wants you to dance anytime we get a new patron.
Oh gosh.
Well, maybe she said me too, but that's not the point. The point is she's bullying us.
You like how she did that, huh?
And Tom has video evidence that he's always trying to blackmail us with, so that's never good.
No, that's never good.
I don't come to this podcast to be bullied.
But it's your wife, so you got to do what you got to do what she says. She is the CFO.
I know. I'm kind of scared of her, so it's okay.
Support levels start at as little as the Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. I don't need to welcome you, Jesse. Here you are.
Oh yeah, here. Look at that. I'm here.
Hey,
are you sure it could be a video trick?
No, it's not. Well, maybe. I don't know. Let's jump right into show 137 and find out. For March 3rd, can you imagine? It's already March.
Are we off on our numbering? I've got 138 as this show. It's
actually 138. It's 138.
We had a numbering snafu around Super Bowl, and someone is off ever since.
It is.
It's +1 from last week. We'll just do that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's 138.
Okay.
But I'll have to check that.
It's not like to go back and backfill with an extra show. We'll be all right.
No, we'll be fine. But it's this week's show, March 3rd, 2019. So there we go.
So the news, geocaching.com has been very active recently.
They have.
They're doing a lot of stuff. This first one I put in there, and I don't think you've looked at it yet, have you?
All that it came out, I haven't looked at it yet.
So good.
About this thing.
Good. I'm glad you haven't. So it's 10 mistakes to avoid while geocaching. This is their article.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So how many of these do you want to admit to?
All 10.
I'm pretty much saying I can admit to all the 10 before I start to. All right. Mistake number 1 was forgetting to bring a pen.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. I'm as bad as Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, when it comes to pens.
Which is terrible because I have them everywhere. There's like,
I got them in my car. They're ready to go.
Mistake number 2, and don't even try to lie. Not reading the cache description. Yeah, we've been busted live, so I know we've done that one.
Yeah,
we did that one on
big time.
What was it? The Twitter one.
It was your 5,000th, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That's embarrassing.
It was your Jasmer. Your completion of Jasmer.
We don't need to go over that again.
And your CFO, and the CFO bailed you out just like that. So
she bullied us first, though.
She
did. Mistake number 3: not checking the latest activity. So
I pretty much do that. Now I'll admit there's times when I haven't, but I'm pretty good about reading. I like to read. I check the previous logs because I want to know what's going on.
So I say yes and with that one, but so both of us use Cachly, right? So
yeah, exactly.
And I think some of the other ones do it now too. I just don't know because I only use Cachly. But like when I pull up a cache now, it shows those little 5 dots.
Yep.
So you're kind of checking that automatically. Like if the last ones are all green, little yellow smileys, you're good to go.
Yep. So
but if there's like 3 reds on there, then some blues, then you know what's up. Nobody's found it or it's inactive.
All green. See, they're all.
I try not to check those unless I'm having trouble though. Like because there's so many spoiler opportunities. Now, as soon as I'm having trouble, that's something we check is the logs.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, number 4. Okay. Not using your geosenses.
Yeah,
it's happened.
Me. That's me.
I like to try to do that and stop looking down at the phone and missing one. Yep. But we've all done it.
We've all done it, and we all tell people to not do it, and then we do it.
Yeah,
we tell people to use their geosenses, and then we don't do it ourselves.
Mistake number 5: forgetting to make a list. Now, this one's just a self-serving ad for They're talking about the new making lists. So we'll skip that one. They threw that one in there to like, hey guys, don't forget the new list
Hey,
opportunity.
exactly.
Yeah, I use lists all the time. So all right,
yeah.
mistake number 6, not CETOing.
Oh
So
yeah,
not taking, yeah.
we all, if it's maybe because if there's one item you'll grab it, but if there's 12 you'll be like, this place.
So I'll admit
needs
if
work.
I'm on a trail, I always
Yep.
have a backpack. I always bring a bag with me, and we'll take trash out. If I'm in the city, I'm not into picking up other people's needles and diapers and junk. I'm not interested in that.
It could be bad too. Yeah,
I'm not CETOing like nasty stuff, especially when my kids are with me.
Did you hear about Lost Boy Rambler? He ran across actual like drugs.
Oh yeah.
And he had to call the police because he wasn't about to transport the drugs somewhere else to destroy it. He said, crud, I'm going to have to call the cops and wait here. I mean, well, you're former police.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
No, thank you.
He did the right thing, right? He had to just call the police and say, look, here's.
So yeah, yes, he did. And I don't want to get too off on the side because I've got 2 or 3 stories I can tell on this immediately, which we'll save that for another show. But or what else? That's for another show. I found drugs and I found needles and I found other things out on the trail and you know, you have to make a judgment call, right?
Sure.
So, but I think we can actually, that could be a whole show what you found while you're out geocaching. But be careful, don't get caught with drugs. That's not ever a good thing, right?
Yeah, so it's better just to call and say,
it is.
Look,
I have picked some stuff up and moved before because it was too close to a kid's area or open park.
Yeah.
And threw it in the trash can, but
you've got
usually I don't.
He's not. I mean, you can kind of tell him who you are, but he doesn't have that kind of, so anyway. All right. Next one.
Mistake number 7, not being safe.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even going to say a word on that one.
Railroad trestles?
Yeah, hanging off mountains, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, you've had lots of them. Sketchy trees. You're like, I can climb that tree.
Yeah, if they're saying that's a rule to not be safe, I'm good at it. If they're saying it's a mistake, I might be in trouble. Okay, mistake number 8, not staying aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, in what way?
It's talking about keeping an eye out for muggles, ensure you have enough daylight, not trampling on plant life.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm pretty good about that.
Reasons stay sharp as the trail look different. You might get turned around.
Yeah,
that was not really me. I'm
pretty aware.
Hyper aware.
Yeah, I would say I'm not. I don't follow that either.
Yeah. Now, not being safe. Christy mentions the sinking kayak that I had.
Yeah,
that was just me not being safe. That wasn't me not being aware. So.
Yeah.
I think I've told that story before.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Mistake number 9, not wearing the right shoes.
Yeah. You mean like to get blisters or?
Yeah, I think it's like they're saying like flip flops or sandals, get out in the snow, that kind of stuff, become slippery, fall. Right. It's Colorado, so we always pretty much have to be safe and not know what's going on with that. But and the mistake number 10 was letting mistakes ruin your geocache outing.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I've ever had a mistake. I mean, I tell the story of the time I ripped my pants wide open.
Did it ruin your day, or did you laugh about it?
No, somebody had duct tape.
So this is 2019. So really now, instead of ruin your day, you laugh about it, take a picture, and post it on social media. That's really what happens, right?
That's what happened. Yeah, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
But that's actually a pretty good article they put out.
That is very good.
But it was really just a scratch of. There's a lot of stuff they've been putting out lately.
Oh yeah, they have. Speaking of great articles, our own geocaching Janji. I don't know how she does it. She puts a blog out like clockwork for us.
Well, she has absolutely nothing else to do in her life. There's nothing going on in her household at all, right?
Married, 2 young kids,
babies.
Yes, one barely. One's a newborn. The other one is, a couple years. I mean, she's got 2 youngins. She's got a marriage. She lives in North Dakota. I mean, that alone is no, I'm kidding. It's cold up there right now, I'm sure.
Probably negative 300 up there.
if you're 4 degrees, she's probably negative 30 up that way.
Well, Eric was and he's in South Dakota. He said earlier in the chat room it was negative 29 up there today.
Wow.
That shouldn't even register. That shouldn't even be a thing.
I know. And we won't talk much about the weather because that's for other people's shows to do. But
anyway,
I do want to mention
back to the article.
Seguin, Texas, that we'll be at this coming weekend. 80 degrees, baby, balmy 80 degrees. Be wearing shorts. We're gonna be geocaching in shorts, buddy. Come on down, all you people. Come on down to Texas and come to the event. Come to the mega. 80 degrees. Ah, yes, I can't wait for it. Okay.
Hey, we're getting up to almost 8 this week, so I don't want to hear
it. Yeah, so new blog is out on Geocache Talk. And the link will be in the show notes. How do I create extraordinary geocaches by Daniel Flieger. Excellent stuff. Daniel.
And that guy knows.
He does. Does it for a living. He has staff that geocache. That Jesse, you'll know you've made it. When not only are you geocaching full time, you have a staff that you're paying.
Maybe he needs a full-time podcaster team.
Right.
You know, we may have to relocate to Germany, but
that's okay. I'm up for that.
That's right. So Daniel, if you're listening and you need a full-time podcaster for your company, let us know.
Yep. I was going to get with Tom, and I didn't get a chance to get with Tom this week. We'll get everybody some more information about the activity challenge that will be coming up in Geo Woodstock. So stay tuned for that next week. Cachely 5.2. So this is really cool. I'm really geeking out about the new Cachely 5.0, and then 5.2 comes out. I'm even more geeked out. But what I really like is, and I don't know how to explain this to somebody other than you need to dump your droid. I'm sorry. I know that you want to cling to that droid and you're a hater of, somehow you became an Apple hater just because, I don't know, somebody else.
You don't have to dump it. Just get an iPhone also.
I guess. It's one of those things just like somebody told you to hate Apple, so now you hate Apple. I don't understand all that, but.
So without getting into a huge, long thing about it, what is your favorite new feature of Cachely? You probably already know mine, but.
Well, the maps are unbelievable. I know that. But the thing that probably you and I both geek out about is logs. I can go into a log. Is this your favorite too?
It's not. That is not my favorite.
Okay. Well, that's cool. You can go into a log. This is a bad example. So here's one with some people in it. And here's one, Norma's girl. She always writes long story. Well, fairly long stories.
Yeah.
Well, I could click on great story, and I can click right there and give it. I'll do it right now because I know that is a great story. Great story. So see,
that is a cool one.
It's cool.
However,
what do you like best? Oh, you locked up there for a second. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's my second favorite.
Okay, what's your favorite?
Number one favorite, which I knew it was going to be before it came out, is so you can set up in settings. You turn on the Lonely Cache feature.
Oh yeah, Lonely Caches.
Set it so I got mine set for 365 days.
Cool.
Well, as soon as it's not a foot of snow and I can get to some of these places. Some of the roads are closed off too up here, so you can't get to everything. But
sure.
I love going after these lonely caches. I think it's just I don't know why you don't get any bonus for it or anything, but it's just fun to be able to go after one that nobody's been able to find in a year.
I'm making a note so people know Lonely Caches is a great feature, and it makes it a different icon.
Yeah, it makes it in the middle of the icon. It makes the little clock symbol.
Little clock, like it's been so long since it's been found. So, okay. So a couple other quick notes. So go get your Cachely. Go get you an iPhone. Don't yell at me and scream at me about your Android because I don't want to hear about it. So a couple shout outs. So as you know, we have several patrons. As you can tell, if I read the whole list, it takes a while. So that's awesome. Patrons, is the engine that has this train running down the tracks. Otherwise, the train just sits on the tracks. It goes nowhere.
That's right.
So very important. Patrons, take care of all that. Mm-hmm. So I've been pretty good about keeping up with them. Because once in a while I have somebody who leaves for whatever reason, and that's fine. And I try to remember to update the list really well. So I went through on Friday. I was like, okay, I'm going to take the patron list. I'm going to get all their names. I'm going to double check. I'm going to make sure that I have a patron and I have their GC name, and make a note. We have two patrons that are anonymous. They don't want us to mention anything. That's fine. If they want to be anonymous,
absolutely, we understand that and respect people's privacy. So
absolutely. So we have two that are anonymous. So I need to make a note of that because I needed to make sure of that. So I go through the list and I finish out my spreadsheet and I look and there's two blanks and I'm like, oh no, this is not good. I got two blanks here. So one of them is R Cool and PJ Cool 711. Shout out to them. There's a husband and wife team that they cache together. And the other one was Baker Six Clan. Baker Six Clan is like Derek Baker. He's the one that found the stash, the GT stash in South Carolina. Dude, how'd I miss them? How'd I miss Derek and his family? I don't know.
Yeah, and we value everybody, but we see the names every day, and we're so used to seeing names in chat room and everything else. It's we don't want to miss anybody, and it's
it was
we
weird.
want to make sure that we give shout outs to everybody and give good thanks because they're helping us keep the show going, right?
Exactly.
And there's some other things like we're trying to upgrade the website so we can put some more things on it, make it easier to find stuff, and since we're not web programmers, we're trying to get those upgraded and get some neat. We have some fun swag. Would you call it the one we were talking about before the show?
Absolutely.
That will be a fun. So we're gonna have some fun things that just show stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of
there. We can't do that right now with what we have, so we're trying to upgrade that. So it's patrons that make that happen, so we can all have some fun, and it's all kind of silly stuff, but it's fun to do, right? So we want to make sure everybody has opportunity to be part of that. So
yeah, they make the thing tick, and so we really appreciate all of our. And I know that the ones I contacted both of them and said, I'm very sorry, I don't know how I got, and they're like, no big deal. They were fine with it, but it upset me that I had forgotten about them. So. Our cool PJ Cool 711. Thank you so much, and of course Baker Six Clan. Derek knows we love all he's doing behind the cache.
Yep,
he's behind the cache. Oh, is he? Oh, cool. Yeah, there you go. So thanks, Derek. Appreciate you, buddy, and family. All right. So we got a note this week. I don't know if you noticed this, Jesse. We got this note from geocaching.com about what they're looking for on top of the whole celebration, the creation celebration stuff for what are they calling this thing? The Cache Carnival.
Yes.
Yes. So did you happen to see this note about for owners, which is owners tend to, I think, get overlooked a lot.
They do. And I know there's always been an issue. Like there's cache owners really. You can't do challenges for it. You can't really, there's no rewards for it or whatever. So maybe this is a good step in that direction for cache owners.
Yes, I agree. So they put a note out. You're part of an elite group of geocachers. You're a geocache owner. Your magic formula for making a geocache weaves a clever container, the right location, and a little bit of storytelling into a big adventure. Plan, and this is what they're asking for people to do, plan a creation celebration event between March 25th and April 14th and share your knowledge of making great geocaches. You and everyone who attends your event will earn a special creation celebration souvenir. Creation celebration is a part of the Cache Carnival, which celebrates geocaching creativity and diversity. View the event requirements and start planning your event. So kind of like if you're planning your CITO, which by the way, we're into the CITO, the first Ceto season. They're now doing it as.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do a Ceto now, you'll get the Ceto event for 2019. And also, if you create a event during the creation celebration, March 25th to April 14th, you'll get a cool souvenir as well.
I know some people don't, but I like that Ceto season. I mean, it's never bad to do a Ceto, right?
Right.
That's one of those things that actually gives back, and it's good press for a game instead of getting the bomb squad called.
Yep.
So it's good
exactly.
that when we make the paper for good stuff.
Right.
I would almost love to see them make that just anytime you have a Ceto, it kind of just adds to a badge on their profile, like you've reached the 25 Ceto club or whatever.
Like
kind of like those Geo badges. What were the the diamond and emerald and whatever those were. For a while that people were always putting on the profile. I forget. I hadn't looked at them in a while.
I know. I know what you're talking about, though.
Like the belts. They had the belts and stuff.
Absolutely.
But that could be just something they could easily, for free, every time you do another 5 of them, you bump up a level.
Yep.
People love levels and stuff like that. And Cetos are always good.
Yeah.
So
I always wondered why they didn't do some more of that kind of stuff, but that's okay. That's for another show. Take a drink. All right. last note. Show. Let's get it. Then we got to get into the show because we got a lot to talk about.
Okay. Yeah.
Last note, again, Texas Challenge. The Mega is this weekend. Starts on Thursday. Susan and I will be down there Friday night to the meet and greet. So if you're going, we look forward to seeing you there. Friday night. Thursday night, they're doing some movies. So looking forward for that for people. We can't get down there until Friday, but we will be down there Friday. We're going to I've got my cache tour out, Jesse. Already got a tour set up to catch a bunch of counties that we're missing on the way down and try to catch some on the way back on Sunday. So looking forward to that. So
we absolutely are going to talk about it tonight because we got to get into the show, but we'll share our plan for getting down to Geo Woodstock and the cache tour that we're going to use for some counties on the way down there. We're going to snag a few. So
sweet.
Yeah, but not for tonight.
We'll talk about that when we get closer to that one. So anyway, Mega this coming weekend, really looking forward to that. So how we got to this point in show, I'm pretty sure it's show 138. I need to go back and look. It's driving me crazy. So, so we'd planned to talk to somebody about their find in Antarctica. And some things happened. I've got a show 137 was last week with our good buddy Marcellus. So I'm just double checking real fast. Take a second. Yeah. So we got kind of off, like you said, because we had a holiday break. And there was no Super Bowl. We had show 134 was Steve Weeks, Travel Bugs. Show 135 was the Nano versus Ammo Can, and there was a break. Super Bowl Sunday was in between. So anyway, so that's how we got to this point. So so we talked to the individual, and we want to point out a couple things. One is they never sort of tried to. It was actually my own fault because I made some assumptions. They never said that they were there and found it. I made the assumption because of some information that was on the page that I thought it was this individual's wife that was there,
right?
And I had thought he was there because there were photos not on that page, but there were other photos. So I mistakenly put these two things together, thinking, well, he was there, but he's not in the shot, but his wife is. So let's go ahead. So then we start talking about the show, the details of the show. And we find out that that's not the case, that he had not been there in 6 years to Antarctica, and it was a buddy. And we'll get into more of the details of that later. So 30 emails later, going back and forth with the individual, and Jesse and I talking over and over all week, we finally came to the conclusion that it was probably best to not do the show that we'd originally decided to do.
Well, and the kind of the reason for that was it would only the whole show would only become about whether or not people feel like they should log that or not. And that's not what it's about, right? Somebody was there, somebody's in front of the camera, there's a picture of them doing it, and it's a team thing that they're doing or whatever, and we're not going to sit here and get into a big argument, have a whole show about whether you logged one cache or not, right? That's not the goal of the show. And while while we could have some fun with that, and they would probably be okay with it, they may not be. We're not trying to create more controversy. That's not what this show is about. So instead of doing that, we decided we would just go back to since we're going to talk, that's what the show would become about. Let's just talk about that. Let's talk about logging a geocache. Let's talk about a webcam. Let's talk about some of these other weird situations that there's like black and white, and there's a bunch of gray in the game. And what is it? What is okay, what is not, and we all probably have different opinions on that, right? So and we're not talking about the one thing we're not. I don't think anybody agrees everybody agrees that's not good. Like if nobody's ever even been there and they're just faking logs and stuff.
Yeah,
that happens out there too. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actual gray area stuff.
Right. Yep. So let's get into it. So first one, since we talked about webcams, logging a webcam. This was one that I found. This is an actual log of someone because we were talking about webcams, and I was talking to a friend at work, and I said, "Oh, here's an example," because he was like, "What's a webcam?" So I sent him a link to this webcam, and so I happened to go look at while he was looking at the link, going, "Oh wow, you can." This is the one in Iowa State, and so he's looking at that, and he's like, "Oh, this is crazy. It's a webcam." He'd never seen one. So anyway, regardless of all that, I went and looked at the actual geocache, and I noticed that they have a selfie on there. I'm thinking, why did they do a selfie? Because this webcam is like spot on. I mean, this is like high tech webcam. When people move, it's not like herky jerky, or it's not a refresh every 15 seconds or anything. It's like real time. So it's a great webcam. So I'm like, why did somebody post a selfie? So then I went and looked, and here's what they wrote. They wrote, the webcam was pointing toward the trees, so I took a selfie. And I'm like, if you go to the webcam, if you go to the geocache, Jesse, and if you go to the webcam page, it takes 2 seconds to move the camera to where it has defaults. And you could just say, point it to the fountain, and you could stand by the fountain. In 2 seconds, you'd be done. Instead, were they lazy or whatever they did? They kind of went, just take a selfie and move on. So
that happens more often than just that one time, right? That happens very often. Somebody goes out of their way to get a webcam, just like we do. I'll drive 50, 60, 70 miles out of my way on a trip to get a webcam because there's less. I think we're down to 110, 109 of them left in the United States right now.
Right.
You get all the way out of the way, and the webcam's stuck.
Yeah.
It's been working out. So now, picture, you want to prove that you were there because you were there.
Yeah.
You were at the right place, but
yeah.
I mean, I think the rules generally say you have to take a picture with the webcam, right?
Yep, it does.
But you were there. You drove out of your way to find it. I can see how people go.
Yeah.
Or let's say you get there and it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's dark.
And this webcam is really meant to be done during the day, but it doesn't say you can't. And all you can see is really just a black screen, maybe a shadow. Does that count? You're there, you're in the picture, but there's no way to prove it's actually you, right?
Now, one thing that I think will help in this situation is you were there. Now, if a buddy says, "Hey, I'm in San Francisco and I'm at this webcam cache," oh, go ahead and do it, and I'll log it as that we found it because you're now, you've been knighted into our team, and now you're part of our team. No, that to me doesn't fly at all. If you're there and you're having webcam issues, I can see that as being on board.
Let's say me and the CFO, or you and Susan, are not on a trip together.
Right.
And let's say Susan's at work.
That one. Right.
And she gets called out for a business trip, and she's now in Canada. The only time she'll ever be in this place, and right in front of her hotel is a webcam.
All right.
And y'all cache together. You're not in the state.
Nope, but we cache together. Okay? I would say yes.
Part of the team, even though you weren't there.
Yeah, but see, that's not an ad hoc team that we add people to.
No, we're not getting into that one yet, right? But
all right.
So what do you think about that? Is that okay?
I think it's okay because
what if you found a cache in Texas that day too? Does that throw off your stats a little bit? That's a weird one, isn't it?
It is weird, and that's kind of like the whole. Aren't there's some challenges, aren't there?
Yes, that are not like anymore, but there are some old ones like that, grandfather ones, yeah.
Where you could have
Tom says you get half a smiley.
Yeah, half a smiley. Yeah. I mean, if it's shown that the two of us cache together all the time, and we do.
So I'll let you off the hook with us. Christy was in Vegas recently and got a virtual. You better believe I wasn't there. You better believe we claimed that joker. She did all the work for it. We cache as a team.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
She was traveling to Pennsylvania for a while. She got caches there. Absolutely. I haven't been to Pennsylvania since I was a baby. Since before caching. We have Pennsylvania caches on our account.
You cache the family
I don't care
too.
If people don't like it.
Yeah.
We cache.
What if what if Hallie is in, wherever she's gonna be in Nevada soon.
She's an adult now, so she's on her own. But
okay, did she have her own account now, or going to?
Well, technically, Christy has her own account as well. But we only got those accounts to log our separate attends at big events.
Oh, okay.
Nobody uses those. As a matter of fact, they don't even have passwords to them. But Hallie does now. She has her own account, and if she goes off and caches an adult, that's going to be her own thing, right?
Okay, right.
So if she was in a different location now, she's an adult. But
so that's so it's really husband, in your case, husband, wife, and Miley, because she's not old enough to have her own account. So makes sense.
So, and Geocache Adam says he thinks everyone should have their own account.
And
people do that differently. Like if it's little kids, right? If you have an 8-year-old, do they have their own account or not? So
I see the point, because his point is that you never run into that situation because everybody has their own account. So we just never wanted to log. I mean, we've been doing this since 2006, and we never have ever had we didn't want to double log everything. Well, especially back then. It was
and that's the thing. Your name on your account is both y'all's names.
Yep.
And
we've never.
My name on our account, our family account, is Memphis Mafia. That indicates more than one person. It's not. It's not anything hidden. So I'm not a mafia of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I've got the space. I don't have an ampersand, but I got a space.
I got the ampersand.
Have it anymore. So
you can't have it. You can't have those. That's how long we've had those. You can't have an ampersand. All right. Let's move on.
So that's webcams. Let's get in some other situations.
Logging without a pin. Oh my. This is one that comes up probably more than any other one.
Have you ever logged one without a pin?
I have, but I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
I took a photo of the log sheet. Mm-hmm. We were there. We were away from the car. It wasn't like I could run. I mean, if I'm close to the car, I can run back to the car, grab my, if I forget one, I'm going to go back and get it. But we're away from the car. We didn't really have, we were short on time. We didn't have time to go back. And I'm like, crud, what am I going to do? So I took a photo, and I'm okay. Here's the other thing. If the CO deleted that one, I'm not going to complain about it.
That's a chance you took.
Chance I took, and the CO is, to me, is perfectly at their, it's their right, or I mean, it's always a CO. Well, we won't get into all that, but this one, in this case, if the CO goes, nope, delete, I would have said, I'm fine with that, because you're right. I didn't sign the log, but almost now the next one down will be a situation I'll tell you about.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to log it. I mean, and I've given the whole story. I've told this whole story before about actually somebody in Texas. Someday I'm going to meet this person and be like, it's going to be awkward because I keep talking about it because I don't know if they know that I know. I'm not going to say their GC name. I know their GC name.
I know who you're talking about.
People know them. And we followed him. I've told the story. I don't want to get into the whole thing again, but we were in Pensacola, and I'm like, oh, because I'm seeing their log on the web. I'm getting electronic log shows their name. I'm like, oh, that person's from Texas. I know that. I was like, okay, cool. And I'm like, huh, their name isn't on here at all. I mean, there's not like, because she went to a lot of trouble to mention, hey, sometimes with this person and we log it this way and blah, blah. And we went through 20 plus caches in Pensacola. Her name wasn't on a single one of them. So, I mean,
yeah, that's kind of suspicious. But of course, how I sign logs. I don't sign them on the last spot.
Right.
I sign them in whatever open spot is way up in there because I don't date it half the time anyway. I just put our initials on there, our name. But
like how you fill
I do it as kind of a counterculture thing because people will put those big stamps on there. And I like to sign over stamps or in the middle of stamps.
Right.
And
or
when they create this big void of space, that's where I sign.
Right.
I don't care if it's back 6 months. No, I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter because it's long past the FTF or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and I think there's something different in the spirit of I tried to scratch my name in with a pencil, or with a dead pen with no ink, or I was just not there and I didn't sign it.
That's completely different.
I don't know what people get out of that, right?
No, I don't. I don't get that at all. Why would you log it? And I don't know.
And I can honestly say, what Christy gets mad at me for, I have found more caches than I've logged online.
Sure,
I know that for a fact because I keep doing it.
You forget.
But
all right, how about?
I mean, if the spirit is you're trying to sign it, your pen runs out of ink or something, you scratch it on there. Could they get you for that and say you didn't go back out and sign it again?
Yeah.
Oh well, okay, no big deal.
It is. I mean, if you try to scratch something, I think you went way out of your. I mean, I've had people say they put lipstick or mascara. Women.
Yeah.
And so it's like
blood.
You don't need to go to all that trouble, dude. Just nowadays you take a photo. And
the next one I know you've had an issue with before. So what if you get there and you're trying to sign the log? Your pen works, but it's just a mushy log.
Yeah.
It's just a sopping mess. What do you do then?
I log it, and I tell them, and if I can fix it, I know this is not geocaching.com. Don't listen to this part. I will try to repair the log if I can. I'll put a new log out.
Do you put any maintenance on there?
I do, but I also try to fix.
I do. So
yeah, well,
I don't hesitate.
The one that comes to mind real quick is the one. It was a fake bolt, and so I opened it up, and I'm like, oh, it's like, I think it's gone. And then Susan and I are looking at it, and I actually got some tweezers and I pulled out little bits of, I was like a Curse of Oak Island, man. I'm trying to weave out this little piece of paper going, oh, you know what? I think this is the log. It's like, no, but I found it. I mean, it's not like I was armchair. I wasn't armchair doing it.
No, you were there. You were doing it.
If I had one, I would put one in there. If that's why I try to maintain, I try to at least put something in there, even if it's not the perfect physical log. I'll go get a piece of paper that's blank or part of a receipt and throw it in there and just go, hey, I'm sorry, but your log is toast. And I a lot of times I'll leave the trash, the mush, unless it's really disgusting. But if like what I'll do, and we've talked about this before, is if it's just wet, a lot of times I'll go back to the car, turn the heat on, and just sit there for a little bit and leave it in front of the heat, and they'll dry it out. And then sign it, put it back, and take some time to fix if you can.
Yeah, that one goes back and forth. We've had this before, but it's the owner's job to keep the logs in good shape.
It is.
However, it's the finder's job to sign a physical log.
Right.
So that goes back and forth. And, I think that's one of those, it's gray, and people play how they play. You're there, you're trying to do it. I think that's 9/10 of it right there.
Yeah.
But now the next one we've kind of talked about a little bit before too, but if the cache is missing.
This one's rough.
This is just a throwdown issue, right? And I think we've talked about this many times before.
Yeah.
Do you throw it down? Do you put one if you know where it is and everything else? And I don't really like doing that.
No, I don't. I DNF it.
With the exception of a power trail that they want you to. It's designed that way. They want you to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's like ET Highway is a different story.
Right. Absolutely.
The only difference for me, and again, people will get mad, and that's fine. But if I know the CO, there's two things. Number one is you have to know 100% of the time. Most people don't, and most of the time I don't know 100% of the time that the cache is really missing. I just may not be finding it.
Yeah, there's more out there. I'll just move on. I don't care.
I'll move on. Well, and I might be missing it. This cache may be there.
Oh yeah.
We had one the other day when we were out with the Motley caching crew. We could have easily did a throwdown. I mean, we could have but logs show that the last person found it. It would be different if there's like 6 DNFs in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of gives you a little more clue. Or if it's a LPC. I mean, really, are we gonna fuss about an LPC? I mean.
Well, I know, and that's where these gray areas are, right? Like you don't want to be that guy that's throwing stuff down. And like that picture that I put on Instagram, there's 3 of them in the same location.
3.
How do you get 3?
People throw down. You don't want to do that.
All you did was give me 2 extra cache containers, which you did.
Exactly.
I hid those right down the street and made a new cache.
Right. So really,
here's the next one.
We really want to. Yeah. The last note is just that we really want people to not do it unless.
Throwdowns cause problems for a lot of reasons.
Throwdowns cause
outside
problems.
of power trails. There's many reasons, and one of them is coming up next. So
way too many people throw them down. So all right, moving on.
Oh, they do. So, what about logging a cache when it has been replaced and you know it wasn't the owner that replaced it? So we're specifically talking about zombie caches here, which I'm still waiting on emails, guys. geocachetalk@gmail.com. I want to know how we can search these out in an area and find out how many zombie caches we have.
Yep. I like
nobody's through yet, so we give away a prize or do something. We need those answers. I need them.
We need them. Email Geocache.
You got smart listeners. You know somebody can figure it out. So this is a very specific one. Log in a cache when you know the cache was not replaced by the owner, was replaced by somebody else. So here's how you know that. A couple ways, right? Mm-hmm. And this happened to me recently, and I think we talked about it off the air. Mm-hmm. So that you get on there and that cache owner is no longer even in the game anymore.
Right. They haven't.
So originally, let's say it's a regular size cache. Okay. Cache owner put it out. They went away from the game, and now somebody gets there, and they didn't want to have a DNF, so they threw down a pill bottle.
Right. And it's not the same container.
Knowing that is not the cache that was hidden. That's not anything intended by the cache owner, and it's probably not hidden with the same difficulty or size as intended by the cache owner. Would you sign that one?
I would not, unless it was a generic LPC, and I'm like, whatever, just sign it, move on.
So,
but if it's an actual like it was supposed to, well, if it's a regular size cache, then there's no way. I'm talking about if it's a generic,
So here's 2 examples that I found. And I know specifically there were these situations because the people that did it put it in the log, their cache log. So one said, this cache was missing. All I had with me was a pill bottle. So I hid it near the tree where GZ was and signed it. Okay, first of all, I'm not even talking about them claiming it. But I come behind and I'm like, I feel uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not the intended cache. And this is a zombie cache, right? So the person's already gone. So I can't even say I'll email the owner and replace it for him. Any of that stuff. None of that stuff can happen. That's not what is intended. The second example was there was a cache, and I had already found the cache previously, but it was close by one of my caches, so I see the logs.
Right.
And it said, I replaced this cache. I couldn't find where it was. I replaced it at the bottom of this bridge.
Okay.
Well, this cache was intended to be at the top of the bridge, and it was a high terrain cache.
Right.
They couldn't find it. They replaced it sitting where you could walk up and get it. Oh, that is absolutely not how this owner intended it to be, nor reflects the DT. Are you comfortable with that?
Not only am I not comfortable with it, I think I would go ahead and take that container. Well, did you take
surprised by that, but I put it in for archive. It's like, this is not okay.
That's true too.
But I was like, this is a zombie account, and that's not good.
Yeah, we can't be doing that. We can't be fixing zombie caches.
And so that's the thing. I think we're gonna have a show on that coming up, right? On zombie caches, just a whole show on zombie caches, because it seems to be a problem more and more.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if it's a historic cache.
Yeah,
and that's a gray line there, right? It's an old one. But if you're talking about a throwdown, no value, non-historic zombie cache that people are just claiming easy caches on and changing it and inflates the numbers and stuff, that's no good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable in either one of those logging those caches, and I didn't, by the way. But
what if it's because those two you talk about are pretty significant. It's a bridge, and it's something pretty large. But what if you happen to lift a skirt and there's nothing under it, and you know that it's just and you need a cache that day, and you know that you've done the whole search, and you've looked at photos. You know it's supposed to be a pill bottle. You know it's not an anno that's stuck up in there or something. So it's not supposed to be hard. Do you replace it, or do you go? Nah,
not if I don't know who it is.
If you don't know who it is, you move on.
Okay, now, I mean, if it's somebody, because the ones I know who they are, I've got their phone numbers in my phone.
Yeah, you can call them,
and I can be like, "Hey, your LPC here is missing." Usually a challenge cache. I mean, hey, it's missing. Yeah, you want me to replace it? If not, I'm not going to do it, because that's
just let them know.
Yeah, I'm just not. If it's just an LPC, I can get it some other time when it's replaced.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, anyway, okay. While we're on it, intentional liars caches.
Now you're talking about
supposed to be against the rules, right?
But what if they're old?
Gotten rid of those.
Oh, really? They're supposed to have. I don't know if they were supposed to remove them, or they just are. Or they're just
no. I mean, you can't put them out now, but you could. They're grandfathered.
They're grandfathered. There's a couple I've seen. I'll log them. They were in the rules at the time.
Yeah, so I'll log them, but I like them. Because they're rare, right? If they were all the time, it would be annoying.
It would be a problem, yeah.
But I found 2 or 3 of them, and the caches where it says, this is totally inflated, it's a lie, blah, blah, blah. But you got to tell your story. And people write these crazy stories about I was spelunking and stabbed a shark to get to this. And that's hilarious. And I don't know how else you would get somebody to do that other than a liar's cache.
Right.
So, maybe don't throw them as a 5.5, but find some way where it's inflated, or it's something else, or a special term that you can do. And somebody asked what a liar's cache is. So Lisa did. A liar's cache is where the stuff on the page is wrong. The coordinates are generally correct, but the DT is way off, or the attributes are way off, or the hints way off. It's intentionally misleading, usually to be funny. Right. Yes. They tell you it's a liar's cache or whatever.
Yeah. There's, and like, if she's asking, there really aren't that many. I've only run across 2. One I haven't found yet, but it's not too far from work. But yeah, it's you're supposed to tell a story about how you got there and found it. And it's just a crazy, people do, crazy. I don't know if it's a 5.5 or not. Now that you and I both found the cache in Oklahoma, it's a 5.5 on OU's campus. And it was a tribute to cancer.
Yeah. And while those are normally not allowed, you're supposed to do those attributes right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what? You got to look the other way. It's a tribute to somebody, or it says it's a liar's cache. You wouldn't want those all around. And I know that's a slippery slope kind of thing, but I found that one. I found a liar's cache that said it was like you had to have a snowmobile and a gun or something, know, and it's like in the middle of the parking lot.
Right.
It was funny, but it was all the stories, But I don't know, and technically the old ET trail, those all said scuba. Right. They used scuba that required. So you could sort through them in GSAC or whatever a long time ago, right?
Right.
So that's a lie too, but but a liar's cache is intentionally misleading, and so you're not really finding what you're saying you're finding, but that's a special thing in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, we're going to take a 5-second break to have a word from our sponsors. Okay, next one. What do you think about logging with a group?
I think you ought to explain what just happened.
Oh, I'm gonna
for the people in the chat room.
Chat room people need to know. Yeah, audio people know what happened, but
yes,
for those that are live, yeah, I'm putting the sponsors in a different spot than I normally put for audio. So
that'll show up in the audio, and now the audio people understand that we just explained that to them.
Yeah,
in the future, we all know what's going on.
So. Why are they explaining that? We just
that was very cryptic.
We just heard about the sponsors. You don't need to tell us about it. So logging with a group.
So by this, do you mean like me and you and Zach go out in a car and we all jump out and find a cache and we just say Sunday morning group or Motley Caching Crew or whatever? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
logging with a group logging with a group that's not your normal. You're not normal. So for you, it's you and your wife. So like you and your buddy, when y'all went and, when you did your big crazy trip, did you log it? Did you both write your own name, or there's only 2 of y'all? Like for us, there's 6 of us. I mean, I know some people are like, all 6 of y'all should write your name, or you do what we did, which we wrote MCC, and then each of us on our own individual log wrote, we all were there. We all found it.
Yes,
but we didn't all sign it. We signed it.
We do this as a regular practice. Yeah. So when we went to Florida, we actually ordered some stamps for everybody in the group that was just for that trip. It even said like Florida group going to Florida caching trip or something like that. A little big stamp,
Right.
And it was made just for that trip. And we ordered like 6 of them cheap from Vistaprint for like $4 a piece or something, They only need to last a weekend. And that's what we did. We stamped those the whole weekend. Just boop, boop, boop. So we're not filling up a whole log with 5 or 6 people, right? We're hoping to do another trip in April. When we do, we'll have a log for that particular trip. And then it's just a fun souvenir afterwards. It costs us like $4 or $5, right?
Right.
But we actually, because I go with this guy pretty regularly, we'll hit groups that are closer. We have a stamp that has actually his cache name and my cache name on there.
So that works out great. That's even better.
Bloop, bloop, hit those a lot of times.
Yeah.
Those aren't necessary. It's not necessary to have that with just 2 of us. But when we go with 5 or 6 people and it's a fun group trip, it somebody's making fun of my sound effects.
Bloop, bloop.
That's a fun thing. We make T-shirts to go with it too sometimes.
Right.
When we go on those big caching trip with a group and we make a stamp and a T-shirt, and that's a memory. So I'm perfectly okay with logging as a group.
We got our
if you're actually going as a group and finding those, and that's a real group, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the key is that we were all standing there. So it's not like this is the other thing that here's what I don't like. And Jesse, I want to get your opinion on this. So say 6 of us are together. We're supposed to be together caching. We split up and you go find that group of puzzles and I go find this group of puzzles. We all have the finals and we're going to split up and go six different cars. And we're going to go find all these and we're going to all claim all these together that we found all these together. To me, I don't think that's the spirit of it.
No. And so I guess it depends, right? And this will be one of those gray areas, but so if you we move into a town, we all go as a group and show up in a town and we split up in that town and find a bunch of different individual caches. No, I don't think that's right.
I don't
because you weren't there for the caches, right? Even if it's a puzzle thing. Now, if you're out in the middle of the plains on a GeoArt and I think it's called leapfrogging.
Yeah.
Like I run to this one, the group runs to the next one, then you keep leapfrogging and going around and around. But it's on a big power trail and like ET. Everybody that does ET, that's what they do. Sure. They'll take 3 or 4 cars out. You can't stop all 4 cars at every one. So they'll stop and then they leapfrog over. I think that's different. But if you're splitting up to find individual caches, I think that's pushing it a little far.
Yeah, I agree. That's where you're kind of crossing over. You've kind of crossed past. ET Highway is a whole different animal.
Yeah. Now, in the same thing, if somebody wants to do that and they want to go and hit a town and clear it out and their group splits up, absolutely not. I could not give a care less. I don't care one bit.
But you don't really want to encourage. I mean, we don't encourage that.
Yeah. I mean, leapfrogging on the ET, I don't care. Go to your heart's content. I've never been out to ET, but I bet when I go as a big group, you're going to be splitting up and doing, all within eyesight of each other, doing it. But
yeah, you're 520.
You're not going down different roads and stuff. But now, would I want to be a part of that for like hit a city and I never even go down the road where a cache? No, you're missing half the fun, right?
Right.
Half the fun is being in that group and goofing off together and stuff. So now,
exactly.
Technically, is it a group and they can do it? Do some people do it? I'm sure they do. Right?
Oh, sure.
But again,
Geotours, people split up.
Don't care much. Them.
So I don't like that.
And if that's fun for them, go for it. Whatever. I don't care.
Yep. All right. Here's a couple other weird situations. Well, not weird.
Okay.
Here's another situation. Logging later, like much later. There's no way to know. We're not
talking about challenges here.
No, we're talking about somebody. I've seen this on some of some of the caches I own, where somebody will go, "Oh, I found this a year ago, and I'm just logging it. Sorry, I know you're not going to find my name anywhere, but I was there and I signed it. But it's been like a year, and I'm like, well, I guess I could go back and look. I mean, but they're logging it like a year later, and I'm thinking, I guess I'd leave it, but
so I'll give you a couple examples of this, and I put this in the notes too. But so somebody intentionally logging it like for, hey, it's my birthday or the birthday of the cache, or it's the I don't know why you would, if you're logging it for a particular date because you need that date, whatever,
Okay, right.
But let's say it's a year later, so I get these. Let's say I'm trying to get two examples. So I have a cache that I've hidden in town and somebody logs it. I found this 6 months ago, just now getting around to logging it. That's kind of fishy. That's a little weird,
Yeah.
But I would kind of question that a little bit. Like,
right.
What's going on? I probably wouldn't care enough, I'll be honest. But,
but you're going to,
unless there's something really suspicious, right? Or if it's like, a really hard, difficult tree climb. I found this back in January. No, you didn't, because you can't even get in there, right?
Right.
Now, I hid the gadget caches for Geo Woodstock 14er.
Yeah.
I still every once in a while get a log on those. You realize we're about to have another Geo Woodstock, and what is it, like the 17th one?
Yeah, we're coming on.
Yeah, so it's been a couple years, right?
3 years.
With one exception, I get those. I was getting those for like 2 years later. I'm finally logging all the caches, and what am I going to do? There's no way for me to know anything, right? Like 4,000 people found them that weekend,
right?
And there was like 15 or some of them, plus regular caches that we hid for those. There's no way. What am I going to do? I don't know anything about it. Right. That's weird to me. A year later, how do you not get to your cache till a year later? I just don't.
Yeah,
but maybe that's real. Probably weird, or they forgot one or something,
Yeah.
Or they cached with one of those typewriter things with the little GPS.
Yeah. What is that thing called? Those archaic devices that somehow get GPS. Oh yeah,
so,
GPS.
Yeah. So I stopped getting those like 2 years after the event. Well, that's insane.
Yeah.
But maybe possible somehow. I also don't care. I could lock those now if I wanted to, but there's no point. They've been archived since that weekend.
Right.
Because people destroyed them, but
they did. That's another show too.
I think they tried to open them with a sledgehammer, but
gosh, yeah.
But now I got one this weekend, in fact, on those, and it was somebody that logged every single one of them, and they said that they were splitting off from their parents' account.
Okay. Right.
Cool. And that brings up a whole different thing, right?
It does. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
A kid splitting off from a parent's account. What about a husband and wife team splitting up? Who gets custody of the geocaching
account? Who was there that actually signed? What are you gonna do?
Well, what would you say about that? So let's say you get a log tonight on a cache that you archived 4 years ago.
Right.
And they go, you know what? I'm splitting up from my old family account, my husband-wife team, and now I'm logging every cache.
I have no idea if they found it or not, because who knows? No. I don't know. I mean, that.
Do you think that's ever been brought up in like divorce court? Who gets custody of the geocaching account?
Right.
But Your Honor, I got 7,000. I can't do the fizzy 10 more times.
That's right. I'll give her the house,
Yeah, she can have the kids. Can I? I've got the triple Jasmer and one more cache. Let me,
I'm keeping that. This part. No, you can't keep that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna split that account down the middle.
Yeah, that's right. You get half of
them. You can't split up the geocaching account. No, give it to her. No.
So Stacy asked a good question that people probably some people know the answer to, and some probably don't. Can you log a find on an archived account? I think she's meaning archived cache.
It depends. Some of them are locked.
Yeah, unless they're locked, you can absolutely log it. So like events, any of those, if they're archived, you can always log it unless it's a locked cache.
Yeah. A lot of events get locked. Like if you were to try to go back and do the block party, those are locked. You cannot log a find on those.
Yeah, they're actually locked, which is a different procedure.
Yeah.
So she mentioned a challenge, and that's why I tell everybody sign every challenge you get near.
Yes.
Because I signed a bunch of them with you. Even if they archive them, you can still log them later, and you're supposed to. It's in the rules that it's okay. So
yeah, I signed a bunch of those with you, and every time I signed them, I was like, I am never going to do this, but I'm going to sign.
But you never know.
But I can stick my name on there because I'm here. I found the final.
I actually have several pages in that book that I'm writing right now about the challenges about those situations. So
whoa, what's this about a book? I'm sorry. What?
I know. I'm trying to get it done. I'm not done yet, but I am working on, and the CFO's helping.
Hold the phone here. There's a book coming out.
We don't do books. What are you talking about? This is a podcast. Yes, I will have the geocaching challenge book out. Hopefully,
GW.
Hopefully, it'll be there for that. Yeah, there's a bunch of hopefully good information, funny stories, that kind of stuff. As long as the CFO stays on top of me and makes me get it out, then yeah.
Yep. We're also going to have an anthology. You've got 3 stories and I have 2. We're going to put them all together in one book, and
not by Woodstock, though, right?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Oh gosh, I need to get off the podcast right now.
No pressure. No. Yeah. No. Soon.
One book at a time.
One book at a time. All right. Next one. What do you want to go to now? What's the next one?
Okay. So splitting the account, I would not have any problem with it, and I don't really want to delve into people's personal stuff. If they need to split off and it looks legit, go for it.
All right. So the next one is something that happens to me a lot. I don't know. Do you have a lot of decoys? I only have one. Actually, it's now archived. I finally had to archive it, but for a long time I had one called Batman, and when you found it, it said very clearly. In fact, I even laminated it. I finally went through the trouble of laminating because too many darn people were signing the decoy. It tells you this is not the cache. It tells you this is, and this whole point about Joker, and it had a whole theme to it, and it was like, this is not the cache. This is a decoy, but you're close, and it even tells you probably touched the actual geocache, but this is not it. And I got all these people signing, and of course, after one person did it, boy, the floodgates are open now. I get 12 people signing this thing, and I'm thinking, and I actually went through. This is the only one I ever have really cared, I guess, enough that I deleted them, and I'd send them a note, and I go, you did not find the cache, and I'm deleting your log in electronically, and 9 times out of 10 they would say, oh, I'm very sorry, I'll go back and find it. Some said whatever, and they never redid it. But
so I've seen that on multis too. So there's a multi close by that a buddy of mine has out, and I've seen them sign it on there. He ended up having to laminate it too because they didn't know it was a multi. They didn't know what it was. Same thing with challenges too, right? So not to go back around to challenges again, but that's kind of my current fun thing, So I had somebody log 2 of my challenges this weekend, and it caught my attention because it's not ones that get hit very often.
Sure.
One of them was 300, fill in your calendar twice, 366 days or 365 days twice. Because you can't use leap year because that's too hard. Times 2. Not that I'm bitter about that, but anyway,
where'd that guy come from?
It was their 48th find. I was like,
48 finds.
I don't think they did this in right. I looked and they had logged another one too that was like all the sizes, all the types, something like that, times 5 or whatever. I was like, I don't think those numbers work out.
No.
But So I sent him an email. I was like, hey, sorry about this, but these are challenge caches and you have to meet certain requirements. And I kind of gave him a link to, the rules and stuff like that. And they were real nice. They were like, oh, I'm sorry. So I followed up with a couple messages because I didn't want them to get a bad taste. It's only like their 48,
Yeah.
And they lost 2 of their 48 that day. So
but
I was like, bummer.
They're like a squirrel. You don't want to chase them away. You want to kind of, no, it's okay. It's okay.
It's like, hey, there's a bunch of different types and
Stay
stuff.
here.
And I'm kind of wondering how they even found them because I didn't think they're not premium.
Right.
So, and the intro app, they must be CGO or something like that because I don't think the intro app even lets them do puzzles yet, does it?
I don't know. I haven't been non-premium for 12 years or more, so
yeah, I don't know either. But maybe somebody knows.
Are they? Well, are they? Are they?
They weren't premium on geocaching, but they could have paid for an app.
Is the final container something I could have sort of stumbled across?
No.
Okay.
They found both in this one parking lot with no other caches.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, they're easy to find, but you wouldn't have found them unless you were there for it.
Unless you were really looking. Okay, because I was gonna say because we found caches just randomly. I mean,
yeah, I have too, but
we were there a couple times where we're like, Susan loves doing this. We'll be somewhere and like, oh, there's a Muncie. Go ahead and scan it. So we scan the Muncie, and Susan will go, what if there's a cache here? She'll lift up the skirt. It's like, there's a cache here. It's not even on the list anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, do you log that? Would you log and I did research on one of them, and it was an archived cache. I found it. They never cleaned up. They didn't come back and.
Ooh, interesting.
I claimed the find.
So you found a cache that had already been archived.
Yeah,
but they didn't remove it.
No, because they just somebody had said
did you
it was missing.
Did you log that one?
I logged it. I found it.
Good for you. I think I would have too.
Well, unfortunately, the CO was given bad information. They were told the cache wasn't there because some Yahoo didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
And they were like, oh,
well, I'm not going to go collect it. It's not there.
It's gone. I'm just going to archive it. They didn't go check because they were, because we've all been busy and cache owners. We know what it's
like. As Sodak mentioned, grandfathered caches are the only ones worth doing anymore. I don't know if he's talking about the types of grandfathered or, there's a lot of people that hunt archived caches. They just hunt for caches that have been archived to see if the owner didn't pick them back up.
Yeah. Well,
which is also a whole different part of the game that's hilarious, right?
It is hilarious. I think Sodak Zach's also mentioning that he's talking too about a lot of challenges that are grandfathered. Well,
no reward caches. Yeah, challenge caches are like reward caches. I actually put one out that's called reward cache, but instead of challenge cache, reward cache challenge or whatever.
Right.
Now, so here's another one, and I didn't put this one in the notes, but so I did this by accident. It was early on, but I was looking for a place to hide a cache, and I found a cache. Obviously, it was a good hiding spot because it was one there, right?
You thought about it, and you're like, hey, here's one.
So, somebody said that they call a zombie cache a cache that's archived but still there. So there's a different meaning of that too. So okay,
I could see that being considered as
absolutely. It's still there, but it's dead. Yeah, I can see that too. Maybe it's both, right? Maybe one's a vampire, one's a zombie. We'll figure it out.
Right. We'll figure it out.
So I was looking for a good place to hide a cache that I wanted to hide.
Right.
So I go over to this tree, and there's this great hole in the bottom of it. Turns out there's a cache already there. So I pull it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you locked up a little bit. So it's all right.
I locked up there for a second. So
you locked up. Go ahead.
Now, so I find this cache because it was a good hiding place, obviously, because I was going to hide one there, and they did too. Pull it up. There's no traditional hidden there. Huh. So I'm like, interesting. So I pull out the log. I look at the last 3 names on it. Look those accounts up. The last one that they signed in common was a puzzle cache.
Puzzle final.
It was a puzzle final.
Right.
I signed that joker.
You didn't solve that puzzle, Memphis. Golly.
I didn't. So,
but you solved
I will tell you that it was. I did feel guilty, so I did go ahead and solve the puzzle anyway. Luckily, it was an easy puzzle.
Right.
So I didn't feel too conflicted because I did it in reverse. I found it, signed it, then solved the puzzle. However, it would have put me in a weird situation if I could not solve the puzzle.
Yeah.
But I signed the final. I would have been That would have been a weird one, right? Because I found it. I didn't cheat. Nope. I signed the log.
You signed the log.
Now, just because I found it by accident, what am I going to do? Right? Not. And never going to go find it, even though I know where the final is. I don't know. So that's a weird one, right? But it was luckily I was able to solve the puzzle anyway,
right,
and figure out what it was. But that was kind of that's a reverse puzzle find. So
yeah. All right, we're kind of running out of time. Let me jump ahead. Let's skip those two. Let's go down to the two people go to a tree. Let's do that one.
Yeah, I think I've seen this go both ways. I like tree climb hides. And so we've done both. I've done ones where there's like 4 or 5 trees that you have to climb. Like for a multi-stage, you go up a tree and you get a stage, you go to another tree. We've split those up. But generally, if it's just like a single tree and I'm there with more than one person, and I'll be honest, a lot of it has to do with ego. I want to climb the tree and I want to get my picture in the tree. So, not really as much as I'm trying to find trying to do the rules as much as I want my picture up in the tree. And it's funny. So,
well, and the scenario I had in here is 2 people go to a tree, one climbs up, drops the cache to the person below.
Right.
They open it, that person signs it, they throw it back up to the person in the tree. Now, there's a lot of people that will be very angry, by the way, at this answer, which is, to me, both people get to sign it. They're both involved. One person can't physically maybe get up that tree.
Yeah. But, and, that's the spirit of it, right? So, yes. Technically, should everybody climb the tree if they're going to sign it?
Right.
Yeah. But whatever.
A lot of people, and that's what a lot of people would say. They would be very adamant. If you don't climb that tree, you cannot sign that log.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that. I mean, I understand their point.
Right.
But
I see it too, but I also see, 6, 7 people show up at a tree climb, and it's kind of silly for every one of them to climb up there sometimes.
Yeah. So I've got another scenario. Can I throw another scenario at you? Very similar. Okay. Cause this will be, this is something I know. We have patrons. We have a patron who is, he's wheelchair, and his wife they both cache together. And there are a few that they have found that he can't reach. She can reach it. Is there any problem with that couple signing that log?
See, I say no. And because it's the spirit of the game, right?
Yeah.
There's people that are out there that
there's some people
that are blind.
Right.
And they have a partner with them.
That helps, right? There are
different situations.
Yeah.
And we know some of them personally, right? That have different limitations. Now, by the letter of the law, did they do all the requirements of that? No, but guess what? Get over it. Right? That they're trying to do the right thing. This is not armchair logging. This is people that are trying to get out there and play and have fun. And it doesn't hurt anybody else.
Right.
Now, if you have no excuse, right? Like if I was to not climb a tree or not do something because I don't want to do that, I probably shouldn't claim that because I have no reason not to.
Sure.
Because there's some that I don't like really small spaces. There's some that there's one right up the street that I have not gotten.
I'm kind of close
because it's down a tunnel. Too. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, and it's just an unfound find for me right now. Could I send somebody else in there? I could.
Sure,
but we're splitting hairs at this point, right?
Yeah, I think we are. But there's people that they get really bent out of shape about it, and now there is a different situation, which is if you're part of like the Texas Challenge, that's a different deal. If you're in a challenge, you got to do what the rules are. You've got to follow the rules. This isn't normal geocaching.
Yeah,
if
that's
the rules,
specific.
Yeah, if the rules state your entire team has to climb that tree, the entire team has to climb that tree. That's a different deal. But then again,
or you get busted by the webcam that's in the woods. Oops.
Yes. Oops.
Did I say that out loud?
Yeah. Well, but that's different. That's a challenge. That's a competition. Yes. And there's if you don't want to do the competition, don't do the competition. But if you're going to be in the competition, you got to follow the rules. You got to do what it says. And so,
yeah, but you know what? So we cache as a family, right? And I've sent my little professional gymnast up the tree before to find or up on top of a bridge to climb stuff. And
sure.
Ooh, man, I just realized my wife is still listening. I have never put her in danger though, babe. So it's okay. But you know what? She likes to do that. She's an excellent tree climber, and she's been, she was part of the family, and we do that. So should I be up there too? Yeah, but guess what? Everybody's different. Now, does the owner have a real claim to go, you didn't climb this, so you can't claim it? Sure, dude, whatever. If you want to argue it, I'll find another cache.
Right.
I found 7,000 something other ones. I'll move on to another one,
Yeah.
Half of it's for having fun anyway. So
yeah, but you were there. I think that's I think that there's something to be said for now. And I'll be honest. The thing and everybody has their little like pet peeve. I guess it's not really a pet peeve, but something that really bothers them. It bothers me when you go, well, a friend of mine found it. He doesn't geocache, but I'm going to claim it because
loose teams are a little different, right? You're stretching a little further.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Family members, that's different, I think. But
but I don't know. We could come up with a lot of situations, right? Like, and there's some people that do cache in looser teams. I know people that, I know a guy that was a local cacher, and his mom lived in another state. Mm-hmm. She was elderly and did not want to get her own account. But then she would go and find a couple around where she was when she would travel or whatever. Just wanted to keep it on his account. Okay, whatever. Not busting the dude out for it, right? I don't think he's intending to do any of those things that are like that. So to each his own. It is what it is. If you're not trying to cheat the game, that's great.
I agree.
People do something that's a little different than we do. And we're not talking about armchair logging, right? That they never even tried to go there; they just faked it totally. But if they're trying to do it, I think they're pretty close.
So the last thing I have for you, and this relates right back to this discussion we were having about loose teams or loosely affiliated teams, and this is kind of what brings me back to sort of to wrap up for tonight, and that is, if it's a generic LPC and you're a loose team that you don't really, okay, whatever, I don't care. If it's a webcam in Antarctica and nobody's ever found it before, and you're going to claim it because you had a friend who happened to be there, and you're going to now say, oh, they're part of our team now.
It's going to draw controversy.
It's going to draw controversy. I think it's wrong. I think it's flat out wrong.
Well, and here's what I would say.
I was just going to say, because to me, they're completely different. That's a huge. It's like Project Ape. If somebody had not found the Brazil Project Ape ever, and it's still out there, and nobody's ever found it, and somebody comes along and finds it, but they don't geocache, and are you going to, but they're a buddy, hey, I know Jesse, he's got an account. Jesse, why don't you, I'll log. I mean, you just can't do that, in my opinion.
Right. And, loose teams are one thing. And, I think everybody would admit, like, if you've gone out as a group and you're jumping around from cache to cache, there has been a time where somebody pulled up next to an LPC, they jumped out and signed both your names and jumped back in the car.
Sure.
Everybody, we've done that together. We're signing challenge, we're goofing off, and there's nothing to that. Nobody cares. Now, technically, was that kind of you're signing for somebody else? You are.
Yeah.
But nobody cares. Nobody cares about that one, nor would they inspect it. No. Could they technically go get like security cam footage and go, you never got out of the car, I'm going to delete your find? Yes. Would anybody do that for an LPC? No, they would not. Well, maybe somebody would. Some people are crazy.
Guess. We were both right there, but
however, when it's a really famous cache or like you're the first to do something, it's going to draw more scrutiny, just like, what we're talking about in this one. And, we we were kind of avoiding that and trying to
it's hard
not make our show about slamming somebody or whatever else. We talked about what we think about these things because everybody has bent some rules.
Yeah.
It's just different when you do it like if you were the first person, and I know both of the first two people that got Jasmer for the 4th time.
Right.
I know both of those people personally. They're from Colorado.
Yeah.
If you fudged something on that or did something gray, you're going to be called out because that gets international attention, right? It still is. There's people that are still trying to catch them. You know, if you're the first person or the 10th person that finds a Walmart LPC, guess what? Nobody cares. The owner probably doesn't care, right?
Yeah.
So bending or breaking rules is going to get national attention. It's something that you have to know that if you're playing more loose, it's going to be scrutinized.
Yeah, and part of what our final decision was how can we discuss it if it wasn't your wife that found it? It was some friend, and you haven't been to the. You know what I'm saying? It almost came down to there isn't really a show here. We can't do a show about. Hey, I happen to know somebody who happened to find a cache. What was it like? How hard was it?
We couldn't have got to what we wanted to get to without it being about something else, right?
Right.
And the CO allows it, it's good to go, right?
Yeah.
If the CO's allowing that, it's perfectly okay. Even though it's outside of the normal rules, it's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been about what we want to talk about. So,
right. Exactly.
So all these situations plus many more that we could talk about for the next hour are things that can come up, right? Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has done power trails. Everybody's done all these other things that are a little bit grayer or, stuff like that. Or even standing there and shared an FTF. Or done stuff that doesn't really list in the rules anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess that's kind of my final thought with it. The gray is gray, but if gray gets international attention, it's going to be investigated a lot more.
It won't be as gray.
Right. And that's not what we wanted this to be about. So we wanted to get back to the basics of this tonight. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And send me in a way to track these zombie caches. And by zombie caches, I mean caches that are still out there, but their owners are gone. Not the other kind of zombie cache.
Right.
Somebody's got to be able to figure that out.
There's got to be a way to do that, probably. Well, and we're going to talk about maybe in a few weeks. We are going to do some Project GC discussion. So maybe there's something in Project GC. I'll put Super Nate on that. We'll pose it to him and see if he can figure something out. He's a Project GC guru.
So. Oh, Zach says he has it figured out. Zach, call me after the show then.
Yeah.
So let me throw something out there, and you tell me. This is for another show, but. Do you think we could have a Project GC versus GSAC Battle Royal?
Yeah, we need to.
GSAC will not be me. I mean, we could do an actual contest.
Yeah.
We need the best people in Project GC, the best people in GSAC, and we'll throw out a stat and see who can get it first.
Who can get it first? Yeah, that'll be rough.
Or get it the most complete, or get the best. Ooh, that could be fun.
Could be fun. Yeah, we got some people who I know. Scott Miller, he loves GSAC. I know Tom Brotherman. He's a big GSAC fan. I mean, he loves it. It suits him for what it needs to. And then, of course, Super Nate, I know, is he's a big Project GC bud. So, well, that's something we'll have to talk about. But all right, well, that's the show for this week. Let me tell you about some upcoming shows because I think they're going to be awesome. Because we're on a roll, man. We're on a roll. Show 139. I got the numbers correct. Next week, John Bishop is going to join the show. He is one of our sponsors, and he is AMS Travel Sales. They have 2 trips coming up that we want to tell you about. One is a little further out. It's the trip to the Bahamas, and we're going to tell you all about that and how you can get some discounts, and you can be involved with John's company. Go to Bahamas. You have to remember that these are caching trips. I mean, obviously you can go if you're not a geocacher, but if you're a geocacher, you really want to go on this trip because the travel owner is a big geocacher. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. The other trip is to go ahead. You going to say something about that one?
I want to go on one of these. This is torture.
I know. The other one,
he's made dumb mistakes. I want to go on one of these and do it right.
Bahamas, yeah, I hear you. And this other one, there's a limited availability, but we wanted to mention it. It's to Cuba. So if you ever wondered about taking a quick trip to Cuba, and would like to
CFO,
hear
when you're in
more
the
about
chat
that,
room, listen to this. CFO, listen.
So he's got a little bit of space left on their trip to Cuba and doing geocaching and all the good stuff. And oh yeah, get to go to Cuba.
I want to go to Cuba so
Wow,
bad.
that'll be so cool. So anyway, he's going to tell us about that next week. 2 weeks away, we're going to have David Reeves on Drives. I've known David for years. This is going to be fascinating. We've actually done some geocache together. Most of my finds, just to give you an idea, if you go look in like the finds I have, I think I have most finds. Most of my finds are of David's caches, if that makes any sense. If somebody could solve that puzzle.
No, that's a stat on Project GC.
Yeah, extreme cache streaks. And when I say extreme, David has, it's been a while now since he stopped his cache streak. He's still in the top 10. That gives you an idea how long his cache streak was.
It's been like 25 years or something, right?
Yeah, it was 25, 30 years of caching. So,
absolutely.
No, it is extreme. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to have Super Nate back on the show. We're going to talk about using Project GC. A lot of people are like, whatever. And I'm like, no, you got to get Project GC. Mm-hmm. It's Cachly, Project GC. Let's see, geocaching.com premium membership. Cachly, tip. You can tip Cachly, by the way, now. By the way, that's other nice feature. You leave him a tip. You got to give him leave him a few bucks, man. You tip a waiter, you can definitely tip Cachly now. And then Project GC, spend the money. It's not much. I mean, those three together, it's less than $100. And trust me, it is well worth it.
I would be hogtied to not have those tools.
No, those are the ones for me. I know GSAC. A lot of people love, and we're not bad mouthing GSAC. So if GSAC's cool, I don't know as much about it, but I know it's great. So if you want to, we can do that one someday. But if you're looking for any kind of tool, we are going to talk about Project GC, and we love it. So Super Nate's going to give us some tips, some pointers, and that'll be fun. That's in 3 weeks. So. All right. Well, if you enjoyed the show tonight, if you know anything about Zombie, I know Zach's going to have some information for us, but if you just want to give us some comments about the show, you can email us, geocachetalk@gmail.com. Got some I've got to save to discuss because we had so much this week. Nancy, Deadliest Cacher, sent me some cool info. But please send us comments, geocachetalk@gmail.com. We really encourage that. It really brightens our day when we get an email. It's kind of like getting a mail in the old days when you go out to the mailbox and get an email. Nowadays, that's the new going out to the mailbox and finding something. Oh, cool. Look, a letter. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We do a lot on those. Facebook is facebook.com/geocache talk. Show can be found on, like I mentioned, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Pardon me, I'm a big Spotify fan. Mm-hmm. Also, go out to our website, geocachetalk.com. We're going to continue to upgrade. We did some upgrades on it recently for security purposes. We've got all that locked down properly, so feel safe and comfortable on that website. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button below, so that you can ring the little bell so you can get notified about the show. Tell your friends about the show. That really is a big benefit to us. Take a moment, send a note, Facebook message somebody, or I don't know, put a note somewhere and let people know that you listen or watch the show.
Hire a skywriter or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually,
get a tattoo, whatever.
There you go. I actually, a couple of friends of mine, I found out they geocache. And so I was like, whoa, I didn't know y'all geocache. And so what I do, I said, hey, there's a show I think you'd be interested in. So they're going to be on as far as listening soon. They couldn't do it tonight. But anyway, if you know somebody who geocaches, just say, hey, there's a show out there I think you'd be interested in. So that really help us out. So until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Go actually find a cache and log it properly while you are going geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.